So welcome to tonight's team call. It was lovely seeing lots of you at the Melody of the Molecules on Saturday. Flip, I'm still like processing all the information. It went deep, didn't it, for those of us that were there? And it was really insightful. And so, you know, if you went and are feeling like, whoa, that was a lot of information, I invite you to kind of just digest it bit by bit. It was, you know, for those of you that didn't go, it was just kind of, wow, just incredible insights into why the oils are so powerful, like way beyond we can even kind of explain to others and almost to ourselves. There's so much in those oils because they are alive and they're nature. There's just so much they do without us even knowing. So we get to experience the results, and that's what we get to share. And that's where we focus on, isn't it? We can show people how to use them to manage their physical and emotional ailments, and just have even more trust. Like what it gave to me was even more trust and gratitude for these powerful tools of nature that are doing it all behind the scenes. We don't have to understand every little pathway they do in our body. We just know that they are incredible for us and are always doing something. So even sometimes when we don't have the exact response that we're looking for, right, with an oil, we know they're doing good. It's so different to medications where we're just using it to try and fix something and we get all those side effects and you don't actually know what it's doing. With essential oils, you just know it's doing good. You always know it's doing good. And that's what can help us share these oils so confidently and help people to feel safe and secure as they use the oils. So, you know, that was one of my take-home messages from Boyd, and it was incredible. Okay, I have a PowerPoint tonight. So, okay, basic. Sometimes on my team calls will be more kind of like mindset and that kind of thing. Tonight, it's very practical. So tonight, for those of you that like practical, it's some really good practical tips tonight. And so I'm going to share my, okay, I'm screen sharing, perfect. The advanced screen sharing has thrown me off slightly, but there we go, back to it. Out of the way. Okay, first of all, before we go into it, just in case you haven't booked your tickets yet, please do. The Business Summit is going to be amazing. It's actually the last one the corporate are kind of really leading. So it's going to be a change of another era. Don't worry, there will be more events and they're going to be a bit different moving forward. So because we're Milton Keynes, we're going to have quite a few of corporate coming. So it'll be a great time to kind of get to know people from corporate, and they're going to be sharing some really useful tools with us to help us build our business. And of course, there'll be lots of leaders sharing as well. So it's going to be fantastic. There's lots of business tips. There's going to be a lot more oil tips as well this time. And we've got breakout rooms. So we're going to be splitting off into ranks for part of it on the more business day. And we're going to have lots of product and different kind of classes you can go to as well. So you can kind of pick and choose a bit more this time because of the venue. So it's really going to be a great one. So please book your tickets if you haven't already. It's an absolute must for people in the UK, or you can also fly over from other countries if you so wish as well. Boot camp in Portugal. I know a few of you booked onto this. There are still some places left. If you didn't see Danny, Presidential Diamond in Germany's video, I really recommend you watching it. You know, for some people, these are the events that really are the clincher. If you're the type of person that gets motivated more from that intimacy, and it's very more focused on mindset, I'd say, and really ensues the belief in you that you can do this, and you get so inspired from hearing from different European leaders, and you get that really close up and personal connection you don't really get from any other event in doTERRA. So, you know, you get that a bit in the UK, you get to get close to the UK leaders, and this is bringing some of the European leaders together. Okay, have I done this right on my video? Thanks. Okay, so book that if you haven't already on Eventbrite. And then, of course, oh my goodness, there's only a few tickets left. I'm not even sure how many yet. Daniel, if you know, can you put the number in the chat? I know it was saying 300 tickets like a few days ago, and they were going fast. So please book your convention ticket. Do not wait any longer, because there will not be any tickets left. Okay, so moving on to prioritizing your business time. So last team call, we spoke about the importance of scheduling, right? And doing a really clear schedule, and done in a bit of a different way, right? We chatted about focusing on yourself and getting rid of the things that didn't serve you, and really welcoming in the things that do serve you, and making sure you have time for you, for your family. So those important things are taken care of. And then you have your business time. So it's about also taking your business really seriously and scheduling in those business slots, so you then know when you're going full in on your business. Now with doTERRA, it is different, isn't it? We're lucky that we do a business that isn't always, it's not like a block business, is it? So actually, really, we are becoming doTERRA. So when we truly embrace and do doTERRA, we actually are doTERRA, walking around all the time. So we do get to share in every area of our life. So even in the time we're spending with our kids, in our other business, perhaps, doing you time, you're still doTERRA. So, and as we're going to see today, that is the biggest part really of most of the ranks, is just the sharing part. So if you really fully embrace doTERRA, it's about becoming doTERRA all the time. So that's one way I suggest to look at. Are you being doTERRA all the time? And then when it comes to your business time, then how do you really prioritize that slotted time? Now, a question first of all to all you guys. Did you find any resistance at all when you were doing your schedule? And did you do your schedule? Can you put some feedback in the chat? It'd be lovely to hear from some of you about whether you actually did create a schedule. And if you haven't, I really suggest you create one. And when you were creating a schedule, how did you find that? And were you able to create some more time by really looking at what wasn't serving you, and things that you're perhaps saying yes to, that are things that you could say yes to in the future, but are things that aren't maybe your priorities right now? And did you look at your goals in every area of your life and make sure your schedule is actually preparing you to achieve those goals? Like, does your schedule match your intention as well? So this is another chance to just kind of really think about that and look at that, because if your schedule doesn't match your intention, you're probably not going to achieve your intention and your goals, right? So really, again, have a look at that. Grab your schedule if you need to, and just put some feedback in the chat about that. So we're going to be talking about just really going back to the basics and getting real clarity on what the money-making activities are in doTERRA, and where I suggest prioritizing your time with those activities and not getting distracted. And then once you can see those activities and you're clear on what those activities are, that's when you can come up with your daily, weekly, and monthly non-negotiables. And that's what's going to drive your business forwards. So let's have a look. So here in a snapshot on a one slide, simply put, are the most important activities you do when building a doTERRA business. So just take these in. We're going to be splitting these down a little bit in the different ranks and showing you percentage of time on each. But this is it, guys. This is the doTERRA business in a nutshell. Sometimes we can overcomplicate it, right? And actually, the doTERRA business isn't that complicated. And also, what I'm teaching more and more nowadays is that these are the basics. Now, there's no one way of doing these basics. So this is where, if you're a brand new person, I suggest you follow the person that's teaching you, and you do it the way they do it at the beginning. And then as you get to elite, and as you've done it quite a few times, or even sooner, if you feel inspired and you're getting some ideas of how you can do all these activities, that's when I invite you to really step into who you are, the things that light you up, and find ways that excite you about all these steps. Because when you find enjoyment in what you're doing and you really get a lot of value out of it yourself, then you won't stop. You know, it's not like a hard work. It's not a thing you're having to drag yourself to do. You want to wake up feeling excited about your business. And with doTERRA, you really can. So it's about taking that time to really understand the basics. And then once you've understood the basics, you can get creative with it. And we'll be talking more about that in the next team call, actually. We're talking about how to really do the things that light you up in your finding, because that's the key activity. So just written in a different way, some of you might like flow diagrams. This is what we're doing. We're literally just going out and making friends, or on social media, making friends, making lots of connections, or we're doing a combination of both. And we're not trying to be someone else when you're doing it. So there's no point trying to be like another leader. Yes, you can get inspired by other leaders, but the more you are you, the more you step into you, the more you're going to attract your type of people, right? And it's going to flow more easily, and you're going to enjoy working with those people. So this is what we do. We talk to people, we share and we serve without expectations of return. We just share and we serve. And the more we share and serve, the more it's going to come back to you. And then we just take people down this journey of inviting them to learn more. And that can sometimes be a few steps, right, between that and enrolling. Sometimes it can be a quick step and people jump into enrolling, and others need that seed planting, that nurturing. And that's what we get to do as well. So kind of when you're creating your business, create those things into your contacting as well, like the different steps you can take people on. And then there we go, we take them all the way to sharing the business opportunity. Now, another thing I'd say as well about this is I've spoken to some of you, and few people I've spoken to are really wanting to create a business more on customers, and a few people have thought, you know, can I actually even do that? And actually, I have always taught in the past, and I'm changing just from evolving myself and learning from other leaders what they do too, is that if you get such a kick, and if your passions and skill set is in the customer care and looking after customers, then strategize in that area and think, okay, so I'm going to really focus on that area, and how can I really support my customers? And then make sure you're also at some points introducing sharing and the business as well, and builders will come from that, and you can build a really good solid business on lots of customers too. So again, there's no one way for doing this. And there's other people out there that will be thinking, do you know what, I really want to find builders. So again, we're going to talk about this next month. You know, we say 95% plus are customers in doTERRA, and that is true. However, if you really do want to find builders, then when you're intentionally thinking about your steps, you know that you are trying to invite more people to do the business as well. So yes, it's about inviting everyone to the oils. And if business is your intention and builders are what you're trying to attract more, have a look along the path and see how many times are you talking about the business? How many times are you showing it on your Instagram? How many times are you just dropping it in? You know, and are people that you're talking to know about the business opportunity? You want to make sure that the business you're creating is following your intentions. Okay, so there are 3 phases to building the business, and I split it into phase 1, finding and sharing. So this includes finding builders, finding customers, all the different ways of finding, doing your continued connection. So having a system that you're going to be taking people along this path, and educating as well. So it's about teaching and enrolling, all falls into this phase. Okay, this is important when we come to the next slides where we're splitting it up into ranks. Okay, so then phase 2, empowering. So this is where you're really empowering people to take more control of their health. So teaching them about the oils initially is great, and really to change someone's life and to really empower them. You want to take them past that understanding of, oh, I'm inspired enough to purchase a few oils to start using, It's more about showing them the lifestyle, right? So you want to look at your business plan and see, okay, where is my emphasis on helping these people really get that this is a lifestyle? So now when I teach from the beginning, I'm not just teaching about the 10 core oils. I mean, that's what I'm going to focus on. And I'm always saying this is a beginning of a lifestyle. You know, this is where you start, and I'm going to be teaching you some daily habits that you can be using with these oils. And as you get used to these, you're going to want to be adding in other oils and products to really help you create the healthiest lifestyle you can for your personal needs. And so it's just putting things in like that from the beginning, so people's brains are opened up to the idea of this is not just a one-off purchase. So even from the beginning, it's a lifestyle we're inviting them to. We're inviting them to level up in their health, and it's about using essential oils as part of their daily routine forever. Phase 3 is then leading. Now, some people want to skip to this part, and it's easy to kind of think when you first start, oh, I can't wait till I'm mentoring and leading and inspiring others. And really, my suggestion is you really want to be focusing on phase 1 and then phase 2 first. And you'll see in a second that phase 3 really does come in small amounts and towards as you get bigger in the ranks. Don't kind of fall into the trap of wanting to mentor like your one builder that comes along that perhaps isn't even really a builder. Okay, let's move this, go on, see. So what are your priorities then when you are new to the business? So I'm just going to take you through just the different ranks just really quickly to just show how it kind of evolves as you move along the ranks. So when you're brand new to the business, then really you want to be spending your education is literally learning about the oils. So use the oils as much as you can on yourself and your loved ones all the time. And you want to spend a big chunk of your time at the beginning, so 20% roughly in education mode. So remember, you don't need to know everything. This is literally, there's education at every single rank. And at the beginning, you just want to get the basics of the oils and the business. So just simply, you want to know what the 10 core oils can do, how to use them safely and effectively, and what are the best ones to share, you know, if you want to sample people or just give someone an experience when they come to your home, learn some of those kind of quick responsive oils, the ones to kind of really give people a wow experience. And so basically it's kind of the intro class stuff. So you want to make sure that you know the intro class stuff, because that's the stuff that you're going to want to be sharing with people as you go out and talk to people about the oils. So you don't need to know every single oil you're allowed to ingest. You don't need to know what clove does. You don't need to know the science behind the oils, how they work, you know, what they're made up from, all the different chemical interactions. You don't need to know all those things. This is what you need to know, and you need to be using them on yourself so you can passionately go out and share them with genuine, you know, the genuine heart. And here we go. So what you're going to be focusing on at this stage is literally sharing. So share, share, share. And again, as you go out and step into action, you'll soon learn how you enjoy sharing. And it wants to be in a way that, yes, sometimes you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, so it might not be completely comfortable to you, and it wants to feel like you. You don't want to feel like you're hustling people. You don't need to do that with these oils. And you don't need to become this incredible salesperson. Yes, we are selling, and you want to do it in a way that's really aligned with you. And I was talking to Boyd again about this on Saturday. And this is what, you know, he said he's always done. He's the biggest leader in doTERRA. He's got 110 presidential diamonds under him. And he said he's never been in the hustle, ever. He's just really taken doTERRA on him and done the things that light him up and gone out and served, and hasn't been afraid to open his mouth and really speak the truth about the oils. And he hasn't like hustled or put pressure on anyone, you know. So that's great evidence, learning from someone that's been very successful in doTERRA, that we can just really go out with intentions to share and not hustle people. So Up to elite then. So if that was a brand new person, so once you start getting going and you're moving towards executive and elite, it does shift slightly. So the education time is slightly less. The sharing slide is slightly less as well, because you're also doing some of the empowering activities, which will be the enrolling and the teaching the wellness consultations. At this stage, I wouldn't worry about having your own continued education things. Just invite them to your uplines Facebook group. So lots of you have loads of uplines between us as well. And we also offer the Essential Gifts of the Earth Facebook page that Becky, my mother-in-law, runs. And Becky and I do continued education drop-in sessions the first Tuesday of every month at 11 o'clock. And we do like a 20-minute continued ed session and a drop-in session afterwards that people can stay on and ask questions. So that's something that's available to all of you. So if you're just beginning and you haven't got anything your upline are doing, then you can tell them about that. So don't worry about creating all these things yet for continued education for your people. Just focus on teaching and doing a good wellness consultation where you really expose them to the other oils and products. So again, you're spending most of your time sharing. So here we are. We're just going to just flash through now for the different ranks, and you can see really clearly the roles, okay? So up to elite, you're spending 99% of your time finding, sharing, and empowering. So that covers the things we just spoke about. And perhaps if you do have a builder or a sharer, you'll be spending about 1% of your time mentoring at this point, okay? And more that mentoring will be at this point is bringing them along with you, right? Doing the things that you're doing, because they're not that far behind you. And just a note on that, don't be afraid to attract builders from the very beginning, because you can just bring them along and you can be genuine and say, look, it's a really simple business. It's about using the oils and sharing them with others. Let's grow together. And there's something really powerful in growing together. So don't feel like you have to know it all to be able to lead and inspire someone else. You can literally just be 2 days ahead of someone, just know their next step. And actually, when you're doing it, you'll know their step really well because it'll be so fresh in your mind. So that's another way of looking at it. Okay, so when we go up to Premier, spending a bit more time on the mentoring now, because you might have someone that's starting to go through it or a few sharers. But again, most of your time is in that finding, sharing, and empowering others. And again, at Premier, I wouldn't be worrying too much about doing your own continued education, even your own newsletters at this time. Again, your upline might be doing their own newsletters. You really want to focus your time on finding and supporting to help these new customers get onto LRP. Then we go to Silver. Look, we haven't jumped to lots of mentoring yet either. So again, you're spending 80% on finding, sharing, and empowering. And then about 20% on mentoring. And you're still doing some education yourself. And then getting to Gold, this is where I suggest, before now you may have done just a little bit of continued education. Maybe you have started doing your newsletters, but not spending tons of time. Please don't suddenly spend tons of time doing these beautiful newsletters. And perhaps you have started a customer group, but I wouldn't really start those things till you're getting to Gold. That's my suggestion. You want to be really focusing still on the finding, the sharing, and empowering for your wellness consultations. And then the mentoring is now going up as well. So this is the time at Gold when you can start to think, well, let's get some of my own systems when it comes to some kind of continued education. And that simply can be a newsletter, letting your customers know when your kind of online things are. And then I know lots of you do have your customer groups as well. So if that is something that lights you up, then you might want to do that. If it doesn't light you up, then don't feel like you have to do that, okay, either. You really don't. And you can partner with your upline and still work with their groups. and support your customers that way. And then get into platinum. So now we are switching more to, the mentoring is growing, and still, guys, we're spending a lot of time in the finding and the sharing and the empowering, and still 5% on the education as well. So you're always learning more, always teaching yourself. And I haven't included any of these, the personal development, because I do say that as the most important of the business activities. And last month we spoke about with the scheduling to put time in for you. So that's where I'm assuming you've put time in for you each day. Probably in the morning would be good to do some personal development as well. So this is more the business activities now. So here we go. This is what our platinum looks like. So you want to be spending the most time, again, still finding, sharing and empowering. And then all the way to diamond. This is when, so only at diamond does it suddenly become equal. So at diamond, you're still finding, sharing and empowering others. And you're doing 50% of mentoring and leading now. And at diamond is often when we suggest starting your own team calls as well. So you don't want to really be having to start them before your diamond, because that takes a lot of time as well. So at diamond, you then have enough kind of wisdom, experience, and that's where your focus wants to be. And you've probably got a lovely little team, and starting team calls with like a small team is really lovely. And you can really nurture your leaders and help address their specific needs. So that's a nice time to start team calls as well. Okay, so hopefully you got the message from that in doTERRA, there are these other activities that can take us away, and you can waste lots of time on resources and things like that. And it's important to have some basic resources, and we'll talk about that a little bit next month as well. But please don't spend forever trying to get beautiful resources and working forever on your systems. Just get your basic systems clear in your mind of how you can take people from that step of finding them to enrolling to then supporting them as you get higher up the ranks. And the thing to focus on is enrolling. Just get out there and share. And this is why enrolling is so key all the way up to diamond, because of all these reasons. This is where you're going to keep that excitement and create that motivation for others and that momentum as well for anyone that's watching you and wanting to perhaps join you, and any other customers that want to come to you as well. They'll feel a buzz from you as you continue to enroll. And as you continue to enroll, you'll really find what works for you and what doesn't. So you'll kind of tweak the way you do it along the way, and you'll really come alive. Like as you share the oils with others, as you all have experienced, that's when you get the real kind of feedback of, this is amazing. Okay, wow, this reminds me all the time why I'm doing this. Because as you help each person, then it's that little buzz, isn't it? And every wellness consultation actually feeds you if you do it in a way that lights you up, and you're not spending hours and hours on your wellness consultations as well. So make sure you really get those key activities clear in your mind of how long you're going to offer people. Don't feel like you have to give everything to someone. So we'll talk about this again on other calls, there's so much to talk about. But for a wellness consultation, you might want to consider doing some of it recorded, and so you send it ahead of time, and then you can spend good quality 20, perhaps 30 minutes with that person, really inspiring them with the products that are going to most help them, and then helping to create a personalized plan for them. So these are just ideas of, look at those key activities and think, how can I really make this key activity count and really be the best that it can be for me? So as in using your skill set, using the things that light you up, how can I make those key activities just incredible and over exceed anyone's expectations in a way that doesn't drain you? So that's my invitation to you. And 95% of the time, if you are stuck or losing a bit of passion or fire for this business, it's probably because you have stopped enrolling. So that's, again, an invitation to get back out there. And if you are in that position of, just not finding the joy in enrolling, then find something else. Go and do the things that you love and meet people doing the things that you love, and thinking of a lovely way that you can then share the oils with people. So get more creative with it. I love this picture. You know, at any point in the business, you can easily switch to boss mode rather than leader mode. We don't want to be a boss. So you want to be a leader. You want to be with the team, whether it's just you and one other person on your team. Never feel like, you know, you're the one that's like telling them what to do. You're sharing this journey with them and you're working together as a team. And yeah, well, if people can look at you and say, I can do it, then that's going to be the best leadership you can possibly do and give someone by working alongside them, right? And then a final word of warning. I mentioned this a few times, don't spend too long in the planning phase, get into action. When you spend too long in the planning phase, this is when you can easily get psyched out, easily start comparing yourself to others, start complaining, start moaning. You know, if you're in that kind of phase, you know, you just need to get into action, get into your own lane, don't look at others too much and just get into action. Another warning is that secret timeline I mentioned on the last call. You know, a lot of times we're like, yes, no, I'm in this business and I'm gonna let it take how long it takes, or you might have your goal of 3 months, I'm gonna get here. Remember, it is the compound effect. It's what you're going to be doing every single day that matters. And then those weekly activities and those monthly activities, if you're focusing on those money-making activities that we've spoken about tonight. So again, if you're doing the business that you love, which is this next warning one here, which I have spoken about today as well. So if you're creating the business you love, then you won't feel like it's dragging. You won't be trapped in this kind of feeling of like, oh, come on, when am I ever going to see results? Because you'll be loving what you're doing and you can't ever imagine stopping because you're really loving what you're doing. And that's when you'll get the best results as well. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the call. And I just want you to ponder a little bit just for a minute or so. And you don't need to write them in the chat. You can if you want to, if you feel inclined, but this is the homework for this one. So you've got your schedule now, you've got your business time, and looking at these money-making activities, and especially according to your rank, what are 2 daily non-negotiables that you can do to drive your business forwards? And probably it's going to be looking in terms of finding, or those be empowering. Those are the ones for most of you. Probably that's what you want to be looking at. And then what are your weekly non-negotiables and your monthly non-negotiables? And when I talk about non-negotiables, stop sharing now. When I talk about non-negotiables, these are things that you will be doing no matter what. So we spoke a little bit last month as well about what things can take you out of your commitments. And that can be, you know, how you're feeling, something that like a shock that's come in, something you're not expecting. And when you have non-negotiables, these are things that you do no matter what. Okay, so to be successful in anything in life, you need to be so committed to these daily non-negotiables. So some parts of your business are going to be more optional, and there's certain key elements. This is what you want to ponder. Which are the key elements that you are ready to commit to right now? And it might take you a couple of days to really get clarity with that, but don't, you know, maybe have them on once you've really got clarification for them, write them on your wall next to your schedule. What are you committing to doing every single day, whether you're ill, whether you're not feeling it, whether your children are sick at home, whatever it is, or you're so busy, you will do those daily non-negotiables, and you will do that weekly one and the monthly one. And that's how you're going to get that compound effect that will bring you to your goals. And that is the end of the team call tonight. Let's see, I feel like I've done a bit shorter tonight. Yes, goodness, I'm trying to get it down to half an hour. Thank you, Danielle. I really appreciate that. We've been working on this for a long time. Yeah, so go and really implement what you've learned. That's why I really want these team calls to be. I want you to come and, you know, hopefully feel inspired, and also go and take some action points from them and actually go and do them. So yeah, please do, and if you want to share in Silver Blossom as well, your schedules or your non-negotiables, that will help inspire others as well. So I'll stop recording. Thank you for coming on as well in half term.